amount of data is not enough, because data is not the answer. Data is only part of the problem. And if you really like to personalize the customer experience, we need to understand the customer's psychology. We need to understand how our customers make decisions. So now I would like you to consider the following question. Are we in control of our online decisions? Now, I'm sure that from the tone of my voice, you realize that the answer is no. And you are right. We are not in control of our online or offline decisions, for that matter. We like to think of ourselves as rational creatures, as rational human beings who have full control of our decisions. But as a matter of fact, 80% of our everyday decisions are done with little or no conscious thought. So you cannot begin to imagine the effect of cognitive biases, of environmental cues, of our emotions to the way we make decisions. And in this world of information that we live in, we have too much information. And this practically means, if we think about our brain, too many decisions that we have to make every minute of every day. And when we are talking about the digital space, about the online arena, this problem is getting much worse. Because if you think about it, we have too many websites, too many publications, too many articles, too many news updates. And whenever we need to choose if we are going to read an article, whenever we need to choose between watching a video or reading a text, whenever we choose to stop reading an article, we are making a decision. And whenever I talk to people about decisions, they keep thinking that I'm referring to those big, big decisions such as buying a house or selling our shares in the stock market. But as a matter of fact, we are making thousands of these small decisions every minute of every day. And in order to make all these decisions, to cope with all these decisions, our brain needed to develop different type of mechanism that is capable of making very quick judgment based on very little information. And as Gladwell wrote intelligently in his book, the only way that human beings could have ever survived as species, for as long as we have, is that we have developed another type of decision-making apparatus that is capable of making very quick judgments based on very little information. And the thing is that we all, in the audience, we all try to do this. We all try to understand our customers. We all try to understand how they make decisions. But as a matter of fact, we are not so successful in doing so. And that's why over the last 10 years, every year was supposed to be the year of personalization. And it wasn't. It wasn't because we don't think people. We think data. In order to understand people, we have to think people. And we think data, and we use different types of data, different sources of data, in order to personalize the customer behavior. And we also develop a new buzzword for it. We like to call it big data. And it is basically all the sources of data that we use. So we use data that is related to visitors' behavior, and to item details, to social events such as likes and shares, and to context information, to the type of browser or the type of device. And over the years, two main approaches to personalization have been developed: the item-item approach and the user-user approach. When we are talking about the item-item approach, this algorithm tries to find similarities based on items, characteristics. So, if, for example, I bought an apple and an orange, so this algorithm thinks to itself, okay, they're both taste sweet, they're both single-served, and they're pretty much at the same price. So the next element, the next item that I'm going to offer is going to be, do you have any ideas? A peach, for example. And when we are talking about the user-user approach, this algorithm tries to find similarities based on users' preferences. So if, for example, I ordered the movie Pretty Woman and the movie Dirty Dancing, and let's say that there is another user that ordered the exact same movies, then if the next movie that I'm going to order is going to be Ghost, for example, so this algorithm is going to recommend the movie Ghost to the other user. Now, those algorithms are partly successful, but I would like to show you how does it feel like to be approached by those personalization engines.
People who bought olives also bought Chardonnay.
Oh, all right. 78% of people who viewed Chardonnay
Can you hear?
also bought what to do when he's not that into you. Well, I'm just wanting to get some more.
People who bought olives also bought Chardonnay.
Oh, all right. 78% of people who viewed Chardonnay also bought what to do when he's not that into you. Well, I'm just wanting to get some olives, so...
Why not buy all three?
Oh, yeah. Because I don't really need them. It'll give you a total saving of 7 pence. I think I'll still pass, actually.
Just some wine, then.
No, sorry. What? You didn't know. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm not buying this wine.
Are you sure you want to remove that item from your basket?
Yes. Why not try something new? What, and buy something totally random that I've never shown any interest in? Wilson Cape Memorial mug? Yeah, okay, I'll take the mug. Obviously I'm joking, aren't I?
So, as I was saying, those algorithms are partly successful, but they hold one inherent problem, and the problem is that they are based on the wrong assumption. And the assumption is that our past behavior on the website or on the digital space can predict our future behavior. And as a psychologist, I can safely assure you that this assumption is wrong, because if you really like to understand, personalize, and predict the customer behavior, there are different elements that we have to take into consideration. One of these elements is the visitor's context. So, for example, I'm not going to behave in a party the same way that I'm going to behave at my workplace, right? Different context equals different behaviors. And when we're talking about context in the online arena, we need to take into consideration the type of industry, the type of website, the type of device, and also, let's say that the context stays the same. I'm in a party. I can go to a party and want to hang out with my friends, and I can go to a party and just want to find myself a date. So different mindsets equals different behavior as well. And in the digital space, a visitor can be goal-oriented, it can be browser, and we should take this into consideration. So over the last few months, my team have been developed a new model for personalization, and we call it the model of online behavior. And this model integrates between 3 different elements: the customer's mindset, personality traits, and the context of which the decision was made. Now, we don't have time to learn all the different elements today, but I'm going to focus on the mindset, the customer's mindset. So what I would like to do now, very quickly, I'm going to show you an image, a facial expression. I would like you to tell me, what is the facial expression that you see in that image? What do you think? Quickly. Okay. So, some of you may say anger, some of you may say fear, but we can all agree that we are talking about negative facial expression, unless you relate to soccer or football, and then you will say enthusiasm. But at the first few seconds, we thought that we are talking about negative facial expression. Now, the important question is, how long did it take you to realize that? Right, it was very quick, it was automatic, and as a matter of fact, you cannot not detect this man's facial expression, because this capability is extremely important for our social survival. We developed this capability at the age of 3. We call it theory of mind, the ability to infer other people's feeling, other people's emotion. Now, I would like to show you very quickly another image. Who can quickly multiply 17 by 24 without using your smartphones and without pen and pencil? Yeah? Anybody? 408, that's correct. How long did it take you to realize that? Let's say it wasn't that quick. It was definitely not automatic. And let's face it, most of you didn't even bother to try. So I'm not here to test your mathematical abilities, but I'm here to tell you we have two different systems operating in our mind. System 1 and System 2. System 1 is our automatic system. It is quick to make decisions and judgment. It does not require cognitive resources. The thing about System 1 is that most times, although most times it leads us to the right answer, sometimes it fails. And when it fails, System 2 comes in to help. And System 2 is not automatic. It is slow to make decisions and judgment. It requires lots of cognitive resources. And while we use it, we cannot be involved in any other task at the same time. And not only do we have two different systems, those systems are controlled by different brain areas. System 1 is controlled by our emotion, while System 2 is controlled by our rational brain areas. Now, I'm sure that you ask yourself, what is the relationship or what this has to do with video personalization? Now I'm going to show you. We had a client that is a publisher, and he asked us to analyze the customer's behavior on this specific page. This page was extremely important to him. And the purpose of this page was to expose his visitors to as many articles as possible. Now, there are two ways to arrive to this page from the homepage. There is the direct way and the indirect way. The direct way is to go to the navigation and from there go immediately to the target page. But there was the indirect way, and it is to watch a video on the homepage. This is the homepage. And after finish watching the video, the customers, the readers, are redirected to the other page, like a manipulation that the site pull off in order to attract visitors to the other page. Now we decided to see if there are differences between the two groups of visitors, visitors who arrive directly and visitors who arrive indirectly. And we found grammatical differences. For visitors who arrive directly, we call them the unintentional visitors. They clicked on much more clickable elements compared to the visitors who arrive directly. In terms of engagement time, the time that visitors spent active on the page, visitors who arrived indirectly spent much more time on the page compared to visitors who arrived directly. And now we decided to look at their next pages. And for visitors who arrived directly, they mostly went to search and navigational elements, while visitors who arrived indirectly, they went to colorful images, to attractive headers, to videos. So we decided to coin the visitors who arrived directly the goal-oriented visitors, because they knew what they want and they knew how to accomplish their goal on the page. They were much more active on the page. While visitors who arrived indirectly, we coined them the browsers, because they let the website lead the interaction. Think about yourself going back home after a long day at the office, take off your shoes, grab a beer and sit at the computer, as if you say to the computer, entertain me. And it does so by providing you with a stimulating environment. Now we decided to look at their behavioral patterns, and again, we saw dramatic differences. The visitors, 2 minutes. Okay. So, for the visitors who arrived indirectly, they were all over the place, as you see, while the visitors who arrived directly, they were mostly on the search elements. So, I don't have time to show you how does it look like, and I don't have time to explain you about the different systems, because apparently I need to finish, but I'm going to show you how does this tie into video personalization. So recently we conducted a study with a global news organization to learn the differences between watching a video and reading a text. And we found that watching a video and reading a text are considered a completely separate cognitive task. So when we watch a video, we know that visuals are processed 60,000 times faster than text, meaning that watching a video is much less demanding, does not require cognitive resources. While when we are talking about reading a text, we need lots of cognitive resources. We need to process the information. We are actively involved in the process. We need to utilize our mental models to create content, to create thoughts about the content. So we are talking about separate cognitive resources. We are talking about System 1 and System 2. And not only that, when we're talking about video, we are much more engaged, so we use our feeling. When we watch a video, it is controlled by our emotional system, while when we're reading a text, it is controlled by our rational system. So when you have the browser visitor, first, we need to track their association pad, and we need to provide them with a stimulating environment to talk to their emotion, and video is the right way to go. While when we're talking about the goal-oriented visitors, of course, text will be the right way to go. Thank you.